A warm welcome to NEXTLIVE TV. Mein Name ist Vanessa Pöhlmann und auf unserer heutigen Roadshow machen wir jetzt einen Stopp in der Automobilindustrie.
So we're talking about events, live communication and experience marketing within the automotive industry. And in my opinion, and sorry to say so, we had to invite our next guest. And our next guest, ladies and gentlemen, is Rolf Schumann. He is, at the moment, and I'm going to talk about it, he's manager brand boost. So that's very interesting in my opinion. And he's also a jury member at the BOE World for like ever. Rolf, thank you very much for being here. How's life?
Honor.
How's life as a brand boost manager, and what is that about?
Actually, it sounds more than it is. No, I'm in charge of taking care on the rest of the world countries from Skoda. So we differ between Europe, Western, Central, Eastern, and the rest of the world. And the rest of the world countries, of course, they need to develop their brand as well, even though we are rather strong in Europe. And my role is nevertheless to consult, to coach, to support all this rest of the world countries in terms of brand development and whatever is connected through all the media channels.
Okay, and of course the last couple of months were very strange, especially if you look at Skoda, that they use such a powerful mix of live communication experiences and all the other brand and marketing tools. Can you take us along in the last 1.5 years? How did you manage to keep that brand that Skoda is alive?
Well, we take advantage of let's say more or less a clearer brand picture in the past we've been able to develop. So I think the message in the meantime is arrived at the customer what Skoda stands for. That does mean we are developing ourselves all the time, but it was not like nobody knows what we are aiming for or what we're standing for. But you're completely right. The last 1.5 years was especially dramatic changes for our industry because whenever you run a car model launch, then you're doing this usually with a lot of live communication, because the people still, even though online business is starting and getting stronger, the people still want to touch, see, walk around the car, get inside, smell the leather, etc., etc. Yeah. And not even talking about the test drive experience as such. So when we get the informations, you have to imagine when we get the information that, for example, the big A motor shows were cancelled. There are teams working on an A motor show for almost a year.
Yeah. And
then the most dramatic one I think was at Geneva last year, which was cancelled I think a week before we started. Oh. So the booth was built up 97%.
Yeah.
And in that way, of course, that is not easy to deal with. And I'm not only talking about the disappointment on side of the internal people, but also the external people. So how to compensate that?
Yeah.
And a couple of things I have to say, especially in the digital world, came up quite fast and in a sufficient quality, which was very good. So I think the world as such was gaining momentum in the digital area, in the digital world, which maybe would not have come up so fast. So that's the good side. On the other hand side, a couple of things were not existing, or at least not existing in the quality you aimed for. And so if you do an online car launch, of course, you're missing something. And in the beginning, the first online car launch from our side, of course, was rather a video brought to a streaming platform.
Yeah.
And but after a couple of months and further development and improving, let's say, our last online hybrid launch event for our new Fabia, that was already a different level, because we were digitalizing a modern art gallery here in Prague. Mm-hmm. Completely, like the whole interior was digitalized, the rooms as well as the art.
Cool.
And then in a virtual world, we brought in our cars, and you could have a walk around in the gallery, and you could have a look, of course, on our exhibited cars in 3D rendered. But you could as well also talk to various stakeholders, our head of design, our board members, our CEO, etc., etc. So they were available with an avatar, and you could stop by and talk to them. And you could as well take a look on all the art which was exhibited there still as well. Mm. So I think that was not too bad.
No.
But it's not live.
Can you say something about that comparison, that live moment? And you explained it very well. I think that you can never completely go to that point that you could do prior to COVID. But is there something that you can say about the impact if you compare it, for instance, this last one, after learning by doing and then creating such a powerful online moment? Could you say something about that? What's the difference in impact?
Well, we do not lose too much, honestly, because it was not only us struggling with this topic. So therefore, as the whole branch was under the same impact, there was not a good and a bad sample, or there was nothing like they do, but you don't. The customer therefore has to get used to this new world, even though he was not satisfied or emotionalized on the same level. But he could not get a better emotionalization. Wow, difficult word in the morning. He couldn't get a better emotionalization with another brand. So it was the same everywhere.
Is it then something that you, let's talk about a bright future where everything is possible again, also in live, in person. Is it then something that you will take along in your mix that has been proven in these last 1.5 years, that where you thought of, well, okay, this is like to add to everything we already did, and we'll keep that online or digital thing tool platform? Is this something you will take along?
For sure, because you're extending your reach. So I think the future will be hybrid events. So depending on how the pandemic rates go up and down, you will have the chance to invite more or less people, sometimes even, again, maybe no people. So this is not reliable for the moment being, and I'm doubting it will be very clear within the next 12 months that you can plan on a safe level. So as a backup, you always need to be prepared with the digital part of an event. And if then the live part takes place, because you're allowed to, and the pandemic is not on a high level, then you could add that part of the emotions, which is, of course, a very nice thing. So whenever there is a chance, I would always add that, but I would not rely that for the next 12, 18, maybe 24 months anymore. So the future is hybrid.
Rolf Schumann, you gave us a boost as brand boost manager at Skoda. Thank you very much. It was an honor to have you in our show. And Vanessa, we will now go back to you because this was like the perfect vision and example of how an automotive brand still manage during COVID and watch them after COVID.
Das war unser kleiner Ausflug in die Automobilindustrie und mit Vollgas geht's jetzt weiter on the road to BOE.